Well, good morning. I'm Pastor Michael Brown from Kalamazoo Gospel Ministries, here for another segment of Stories of Hope from the heart of our community. My guest today here with me is Matt Furrow. Welcome, Matt.
Hello, thank you.
You all may remember Matt from a few weeks ago. We had talked, and then last week we talked to John Simpson, and we're talking about some of the new changes that are coming about as we have instituted our new single point of entry and what that means to the different segments of operation that we have here. As you remember, Matt is our director of volunteerism. He's our volunteer coordinator. And so Matt's going to be talking to us today about what all of this means to our volunteers. Matt?
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me on. Excited to get to share some of our new vision that we're trying to implement for volunteers that is launching with this new entryway. So as the idea of this entryway came up, we started thinking in terms of volunteers. How is this going to impact how we're interacting with volunteers and how we're approaching them and what opportunities it's going to give us? And the basic mindset we're developing is that we want to love our volunteers well. Right? We want to welcome them into this organization well. And this new entrance is a way for us to do so. And a way for us to just continue to doing some things we've already been doing. So we almost like to think about it in terms of maybe you're having a guest over to your house, or maybe if you're a parent, you have kids that are inviting their friends over, or you're inviting friends over for dinner. So first of all, who's coming over, right? That's pretty important to know. So we're just going to start to figure out, with these volunteers, well, who are you in terms of literally what's your name and what's some of your background about. So that's going to look physically like a new volunteer application that we're rolling out.
Okay.
And so some of our volunteers have been here a very long time and they're very dedicated. But as we've done some digging, it turns out we don't actually know a whole lot about them, which is unfortunate on our part. We're thrilled to have these volunteers. But if someone's coming over to your house frequently, it'd help to know who they are and what their name is. In addition, we're trying to figure out, okay, so we know who you are, but when are you coming over, right? You'd like to be prepared ahead of time. So you can, have food ready, or, if you have kids inviting friends over, wanting to make sure there's no other plans. We take the same approach with our volunteers. We have a lot of people here that are wanting to get involved and engaged. And so when you're coming in wanting to volunteer, we want to make sure that we honor the time and the energy that you're spending, and making sure that we have opportunities available for you. Yeah. Sometimes, you have a whole family coming over for dinner, so that means that it's not the ideal time for your kids to invite their friends over. Same thing with volunteers. We have church groups, local businesses, community groups that are wanting to come in and serve, which is great. But on those days when they're here, that might take up a lot of our available space in a certain area. So when you're coming in to volunteer, we're trying to set up a calendar now, a volunteer calendar, just to help us know when should we expect you, and are those times when you're wanting to come in, are they going to line up with some of our open opportunities?
Yeah. Well, you want your volunteers you want to be prepared for your volunteers to come. So if they're coming for a particular purpose, you want to have everything they need in order to do what it is they're coming to do.
Yeah. And we are so glad that people are wanting to come in. And sometimes we get people that just, will call me first thing in the morning or just show up at our front doors, and we'll say, hey, we'd love to have you in. Let us check the schedule, though, first. Right. Instead of just, come on in, because we don't want to waste your time and we want to be prepared for you. Yeah. Right? So we want to know who you are. We know when you're coming. Yeah.
And oftentimes if somebody just pops in and you have to find something, as it were, for them to do, then they don't feel as fulfilled.
Exactly.
So it's always better if we're all prepared. You're prepared to come. We're prepared to receive you. Staff is looking forward to having you come. They've got a project or they've got a place. Oftentimes you can, as Matt was saying, if we don't have a large group in the kitchen, then oftentimes we can maybe plug somebody into the kitchen, but that might not be true for some of the other areas, and it might not coincide with your expertise either. You might be an educator that wants to work in the learning center or something like that. You may be someone that has a background working with children. Well, now that's going to require that we do a background check, and because we want our kids to be safe, and all of that. So it's a real good, the purpose for it is that we're coordinated, that we know who's on property, who's doing what, and that you're working and volunteering in an area that is going to make you feel fulfilled.
And another big change that we're trying to start up is that we actually want our staff, myself included, to be walking with our volunteers to and from their serving destination. Right? With this new entrance, we're trying to make sure that people are going to where they need to get going. And some people might say, well, hey, I can find my way to the kitchen. I'm sure they could, but we'd be doing a disservice on our part, letting you just wander around our house, in case you get lost, in case you have questions.
And the other thing is, another part of that is that we want you to be safe, and we want you not to be, what's the word I want to use? Well, we don't want you to stumble upon somebody that's going to be asking you for money or, trying to get you to do something that you didn't show up for. We want you to be respected while you're here, and cared for while you're here, but you shouldn't have to deal with some of the other things that are contingent goes along with being in this environment. And so we want you to be well taken care of. So, yeah.
And we're also really working hard right now on printing IDs for all of our volunteers. We realized that was a shortcoming on our part, is sometimes it was difficult for our staff to kind of say, well, okay, are you a volunteer, or are you just maybe a visitor here to see someone? Are you from the community just wanting to get information about our organization? So we're starting to make just volunteer ID badges for everyone, so that as you're working here and as you're serving, our staff can not only recognize that you're a volunteer, but thank you and show you appreciation from there, not just in the area where you're serving.
Right.
We've already started to hear feedback from volunteers and from staff that, as staff have been walking around, they've noted, oh, hey, you're a volunteer. Well, thanks for coming in today. And that might not even be a staff member that is directly working with that volunteer for the day. So it's helping us to kind of step up our game internally as a staff when you wear those ID badges.
Yeah. Matt, are there any limits to the areas of expertise that a person might want to volunteer in? I know that we've got a medical clinic here. We've got, you've got your children's area. We've got the learning center. We've got auto. We've got all those different places.
We would love to have you in whatever your background is, whatever you feel like your skill level is. We want to get to know that. And that is part of all these new processes. They're helping us to get to know who's serving here intentionally, so that we can have conversations and kind of say, hey, you've been working in the kitchen a while, maybe 3-4 years as a regular volunteer. First of all, thank you. But second of all, what are your passions? What are some of your talents that maybe you'd be curious about putting to use here? Because I think sometimes from the outside, people don't always think about the scope of our organization and all the different areas where they can serve. If you're good at teaching, we have an education center. If you like kids, we have a kids program. If you're more construction hands-on. We have a maintenance team that I see running around all day. They would certainly love to have a couple regular volunteers that can help them out with their projects.
You know, John Simpson was on last week.
Oh,
and
okay.
we were talking about some of the changes that we're making as we evolve our ministry into Kalamazoo Gospel Ministries. We've got a new website now you might want to check out.
Oh, it's fantastic.
www.kzoogospel.org. Check out our new website. But, you know, one of the things, Matt, that I know is that as we're going through this cycle of change in all of these different areas, we have to constantly educate staff and keep everybody, you know, on the same page going forward. So it's not too far-fetched that a volunteer who only comes periodical might miss some of those changes, you know, and so that's another reason why we always want to make sure we connect you with staff, that they can keep you up on the changes that are being made. So as we move into a new way of doing things, you're not stuck in the old way and missing something. And it, you know, so it just makes it, it kind of streamlines your operation and causes you to be more efficient if we're all on the same page and we're all doing the same thing. And so to keep our volunteers educated, to keep them informed and indoctrinated in how we're doing things and what those changes are, that's a really good thing, don't you think?
Oh, without a doubt. I completely agree. We've even had a few people since we've launched our new entrance in the past few weeks that have not been in recently, and they're kind of, you know, amazed by it. And they're going, oh, okay, well, new entrance and new front desk and some new procedures. And we're just saying, yeah, you know, look at all the things that we are trying to do to be intentional about, you know, making sure the time you are spending here is well prepared for, and that we can best equip you when you come in. So for those who maybe haven't been in a while, it may be a little shocking at first, but we want to walk you through that, and we're going to be there with you to help you through that. Yeah. Right? You're not going to be on your own as the volunteer. We've got so many staff, myself included. My office got moved recently to be near the front desk for the sole purpose of, I want to be there right on the front lines. I want to see you come in, right? I want to be able to chat with you and see how your day has been, talk to you about these new procedures and get your feedback on it. Because we have some really great staff, but for as many great staff as we have probably double or triple that many people in volunteers. And so that is double and triple the amount of feedback we can get from all of you on how we're doing as an organization and how some of these new changes are working out and your thoughts on them.
Yeah, and you know, Matt, we've talked this week and last week. We talked a lot about that new single point of entry, and I know some of you all may not have been here, may have not have seen it yet, even though it's been open since I think it was Wednesday of last week, Tuesday of last week. Well, Wednesday after next, I believe it's the 25th, we're going to have a grand opening for that single point of entry. And at 2:45 in the afternoon, we want to invite you on down to come and be a part of that. We're going to be giving tours and help you understand right in the moment, right in that space, just how it functions and why it's set up the way that it's set up and all of that. So I invite you to come on down. If you're coming, just give us a call and let us know that you're going to be there. That way we make sure that we've got enough of whatever we need to accommodate all of the people that'll be coming. And bring somebody. You know, especially if you know someone who's had questions about the gospel mission, or someone that might need our service and just want to kind of scope out the land, so to speak, before they come down and volunteer. And just come on down. And I know there are some people who just want to make sure that this is a safe environment and everything. And that single point of entry is a part of what we've done to make sure that it is. And so if you're free on, I believe it's the 25th, but it's Wednesday after next, If you're free at 2:45 in the afternoon, come on down and be a part of that grand opening for our single point of entry. So Matt,
Yeah.
we're always looking for volunteers.
Without a doubt. We've got plenty of opportunities at the moment. Fall is coming, so a lot of students are going back to school. So I know student groups, I've had a few even in the past week get in touch with me wanting to set up volunteer opportunities. We'd love to have you in, right? We're all getting into this fall school year, that rhythm, that routine. Summertime was it was great, but we didn't have as many people as we would have hoped, and we understand that. It's summer. People are on vacations. They're away, right? They're off of that schedule. So as you're getting into that new rhythm for the fall and for the school year, please, please, please reach out to me. I would love to connect you with our organization and to get to know you more.
Yeah. Now, one thing, Matt, and I don't think we've talked about this a lot, but the Kalamazoo Gospel Ministries owns a number of properties that serve as transitional housing. And so lately we've been looking for builders and people with carpentry skills and that kind of thing to donate their time and resources. If you're somebody who has a business and you want to donate material, you want to donate your time to help us to do some renovation in some of those, we're going to be planning those out. We're working with some of the members of the Kalamazoo Home Builders Association, and we're going to be scheduling times to help do demolition and help do some renovation on different properties. We would love to get a call from you and find out what your specific area of expertise is and get you plugged in that so we can get those buildings either renovated or rebuilt or whatever we're doing to them. And that all helps support the ministry that we're doing here. I don't think a lot of people know that when a person moves through the ministry of the Kalamazoo Gospel Mission portion, that oftentimes we'll have vacancies in some of our transitional housing, and so they can spend some time there all while they're moving toward that place of wholeness and having their own. And so, we're always open to receive your skill level there. And we always appreciate your help. It always offsets the cost of those things so that more money can go into the ministry of what we do.
Those who know me well know that the construction trades are pretty low on my strengths list, but demolition project, I heard you mention that. Give me a sledgehammer and I'll just
tear something up.
I'll swing away. So even if you're sitting there thinking, well, I don't really know what my skill level is right now, just get in touch with us and we will work to find the best opportunity for you. I think sometimes that can be a hindrance where people say, I have nothing to offer. But if you have some free time and some energy to come in, then that's fantastic. That's all that we ask, and we can get you connected.
A lot of times when we talk about volunteerism, people will think about working in the thrift store, or if we talk about auto, they might think about detailing, and in the thrift store they may be talking about folding clothes or sorting clothes, and those things are really not that skill intensive. But we also have people that come down from time to time. If you might be a barber and you want to donate some time cutting hair for people that serve here, you might be a beautician, and you want to bring a couple of your colleagues down, set up a couple of chairs and do the hair of some of the ladies that work here, or those type of things that our people generally don't have the opportunity or the funds to go and do. And it makes them feel so much better when they get their hair cut and they shave and they look in that mirror and they see the old them that they haven't seen for a while. I'm telling you, that's a motivator for the people that we serve. And if you want to be a part of that, Matt Furrow is the guy that you want to call. Matt, why don't you give your contact information just so they know how to get a hold of you?
Sure. So the best way to get a hold of me, you can do it by phone or by email. So you can call the front desk at the Mission, which is 269-345 2974. You can ask to speak to me. My name's Matt. I'm the volunteer coordinator. Or you can also type in extension 203. So the whole number then would be 269-345-2974, extension 203, and that'll just pipe you directly to my office. We have a great front desk staff as well, though, who can get you in touch with me. Or if you're tech savvy, you can shoot me an email. The best email address would just be volunteer, VOLUNTEER, at kazoogospel.org, KZOOGOSPEL.org, volunteer at kazoogospel.org. Either one of those works really great. I try to be in my office when I'm not, checking in on our volunteers and escorting them into their different places of serving and having those chats with them. So I may not get back to you immediately, but I try to be pretty up to date with that and respond to all the contact requests I get within, I would say 24 hours is my goal.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I know, Matt, I haven't talked to Matt about this, but and I know it's really not good to spring stuff on my staff, okay. While we're on the air. But one of the things that we want to talk about in the future is being able to incorporate creative art pieces into what our people do. So what I mean by that, if you might be an artist and you want to give others the opportunity to draw or paint or whatever, and so you want to come down to the gospel mission and you want to provide that opportunity for some of our guests just so that they can see what their interests are. And some people are gifted in areas, but they've never had an opportunity to do it. You might be one of those who you have the skill to teach people an instrument or something like that, or if they sing, you might want to work with a group of people that are here at the Gospel Mission and create a quartet or something like that, and then just work with them just to take their minds off of their temporary homeless situation and start working on the creativity that God's placed in them. If that's something that's of interest to you, then you want to get a hold of us and talk to us about that. Neat story about that real quick. I'm sorry I was cutting you off.
So during the summertime, I actually had a gentleman reach out to me just wanting to volunteer. And as I kind of got to know him and was learning more about him, he told me that he plays guitar. And that he actually offers some guitar lessons on the side. Okay. And so I got to chat with him some more, and he said, sometimes he's involved in the children's ministry at his church. So we were kind of brainstorming and thought, well, why don't we see if we can give some guitar lessons to some of our kids here at the mission. Right. And so he came in regularly every week during the summer to work with our school-age kids because school was out for the summer. So they had some more free time in our Creation Station program, which services our all kids who are school-age and above, and just came in and was using his talents to help the kids learn more about a guitar and how that works and how to teach them that. And it was just something that neither one of us really expected at the start when he signed up to volunteer. But that's one of those things where, if you have those talents, let us know, and we'd love to see what we can arrange. Sometimes we don't always have programs like that set and ready to go at the moment. But that's where we can brainstorm collectively and say, you know what? I'm really glad that you're interested in that. What are your ideas? Yeah. Let me see what conversations I can have with our staff and how we can maybe try to set something up and try to create something. And
Matt, there are times when some folks who are donating, they donate instruments. Yeah. And so if we've got that instrument, it's a prime opportunity for a kid to learn something, get interested in something musically or artistically, at a very young age, and, you can be a part of that. Well, so many changes going on with Kalamazoo Gospel Ministries. I want you to stay tuned, and you'll be able to follow us on Facebook, follow us on LinkedIn, You'll be able to get up on our website and see all the amazing things that are going on here and just how you can be a part of that.
Check out that volunteer page on the website as well. That's the most important section of it.
I love our new website. I think we've got the best website going. Matt, I'd like to pray for you and pray for our volunteer department and just everything that God's doing through that department before we go, if that's okay.
Oh, I would be more than honored. Thank you, sir.
Won't you pray with us? Well, Father, we just thank and praise you, God, for everything you're doing here at Kalamazoo Gospel Ministries. I thank you for Matt Furrow, God, and just the giftedness that you've given him to work with our volunteers, to coordinate those volunteers, just to love upon them, Father, and help them to feel that and know that they are part of our ministry team here. And so, God, I pray that even as this broadcast goes out, Father, that you're speaking to the hearts and the minds of those people that you've designated to come on board and be a part of our ministry team here. So bless them now, God. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Again, this is Pastor Michael Brown. My guest has been Matt Furrow, a Kalamazoo Gospel Ministries volunteer coordinator today. And so come down and see us. Don't forget, Wednesday, I believe it's the 25th at 2:45 in the afternoon, we're going to have our grand opening, and we hope to see you here. Until next time, God bless. Take care.